The dining room was too perfect. That was the first thing Claire noticed. Crystal glasses aligned like soldiers. Silverware polished to a mirror shine. A chandelier glowing warmly above a table that looked like it belonged in a magazine, not a real home. Everything was flawless. Except the tension. Margaret Holloway sat at the head of the table, calm as always. She didn't need to raise her voice. Power didn't shout in this house. It whispered. "Claire," she said gently, sliding a document across the table, "sign this before dessert." The paper stopped right beside Claire's plate. Cream-colored. Heavy. Expensive. A pen was placed beside it like part of the meal. Claire didn't touch it. She didn't need to. She already knew what it was. A post-nuptial agreement. 14 pages long. 14 pages designed to erase her. "If you sign tonight," Margaret continued, her tone almost kind, "we can avoid unnecessary complications." Claire's fingers rested lightly on the table. Steady. Controlled. "And if I don't?" she asked. Silence filled the room. Her husband Daniel sat across from her, staring into his wine glass like it held answers he didn't want to face. Margaret smiled faintly. "Then by Monday morning," she said, "this marriage will be annulled." The words landed softly. But they hit hard. Claire glanced around the table. Howard Holloway, Daniel's father, carved the turkey slowly, like nothing important was happening. Victoria, Daniel's sister, examined her nails, pretending boredom. Her husband Preston watched quietly. Observing. Waiting. They had all agreed to this. Of course they had. Claire let out a slow breath. 3 years. 3 years of quiet judgment. Of polite smiles that never reached their eyes. Of conversations that stopped when she entered a room. 3 years of being the girl who didn't belong. The girl from nothing. The girl who got lucky. Margaret folded her hands. "You're a smart woman," she said. "You understand what this family represents." Claire tilted her head slightly. "And what exactly is that?" "A legacy," Howard answered calmly. "One that needs protection." "From me?" Claire asked. Victoria finally looked up, smiling in that familiar, condescending way. "Let's not pretend this is personal," she said. "It's practical." "Practical?" Claire almost laughed. Instead she looked down at the document. 14 pages. Every line carefully written to ensure that if her marriage ended, she would walk away with nothing. No assets. No claims. No future tied to the Holloway name. Just erased. "You came into this family with very little," Margaret said softly. "There was." The sentence Claire had been hearing in different forms for years. "Your background. Your past. Your place." Claire nodded slowly. Then she looked up. "I'm not signing it." The air shifted. Daniel finally looked at her. "Claire." "No," she said calmly. "I'm not signing it." Howard set his knife down. "Then you need to understand the consequences." Claire leaned back slightly. "I think I do." Preston cleared his throat. "We've done our research," he said smoothly. "Your company's last reported revenue was $48,000. He paused, letting it sink in. "We're not here to embarrass you," he added. "We're protecting the family." Claire looked at him. Really looked at him. Yale-educated. Confident. Certain. Wrong. 48,000, she repeated softly. "That's correct," Preston said. Claire nodded once. Then she smiled. "Take out your phones," she said. No one moved. "Go ahead," she continued. "Search Wheeler Systems." Daniel frowned slightly. "Claire." "Just search it," she said. Something in her voice changed. Not louder. Not sharper. Just final. Daniel hesitated. Then slowly reached for his phone. He typed. And then, he froze. Claire watched his face carefully. Watched the color drain from it. "What is this?" he whispered. Howard grabbed his own phone. Victoria followed. Preston's jaw tightened as he typed. Seconds passed. And then the room changed. Completely. Wheeler Systems. A name they had never heard before. A company they had never asked about. Company valued at $2.1 billion. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. "You've been running this?" Margaret asked quietly. Claire nodded. "I founded it when I was 24. But, the filings," Preston stammered. "Belong to a shell entity," Claire said. Administrative purposes. She picked up the agreement. Held it between her fingers. You thought I married into wealth, she said. Her voice was calm. Controlled. You never considered I might have brought my own. No one spoke. Not immediately. Because the entire narrative they had built about her had just collapsed. Daniel stared at her like he didn't recognize her. How? He asked quietly. Claire met his eyes. I told you, she said. You just never asked questions. Victoria shook her head. This is ridiculous, she snapped. You expect us to believe you just hid all of this? I didn't hide anything, Claire replied. You never looked. Another silence. Longer this time. Then Claire reached into her bag and placed a folder on the table. There's something else, she said. Margaret's eyes narrowed slightly. Claire opened the folder. 18 months ago, your family took a $12 million commercial credit line, she began. Howard stiffened. The lender was Meridian Capital. Claire slid a document across the table. I acquired Meridian Capital last year. The words landed slowly, like falling glass. That means, she continued, I hold your debt. Howard stood up. That's not possible. Sit down, Claire said quietly, and something in her tone made him hesitate. Then sit. The loan is in default, she added calmly. The payment due last month was missed. Victoria's face went pale. You're threatening us? Claire shook her head. No. She leaned forward slightly. I'm explaining the situation. Preston shifted in his chair. Uncomfortable now. Claire turned to him. And while we're discussing due diligence. His expression changed instantly. Defensive. The account you've been running through Trident Advisory, Claire said calmly, received insider information regarding a pharmaceutical company under investigation. Victoria turned toward him slowly. Preston. He didn't answer. Claire continued. The information came from a firm that is now owned by my company. Silence. Absolute silence. I forwarded the documentation to federal authorities 6 days ago, she finished. The room stopped breathing. And then, headlights appeared through the window. 2 black SUVs pulling into the driveway. Right on time. Margaret didn't move. But her fingers tightened slightly. What do you want? She asked. Claire looked at her. Really looked at her. I want respect, she said simply. Then she turned to Daniel. And I want honesty. His voice cracked slightly. I didn't know about the agreement, he said. Claire held his gaze. But you didn't question it either. He had no answer. The doorbell rang. Once. Final. No one moved at first. Then footsteps echoed through the house. Voices at the door. Visual. Claire stood up. I didn't plan tonight, she said calmly. You did. He picked up her bag. Walked toward the door. Then paused. Turned back. I never hid from you, she said. Her eyes moved across each of them. You just never looked. The front door opened. Men in dark coats stepped inside. Federal agents. Professional. Unavoidable. Claire walked past them without hesitation. Out into the cold night air. The gravel crunched beneath her heels. Her car waited at the end of the driveway. Engine silent. Ready. Behind her. Voices rose. Controlled panic. Questions. Denials. The perfect Holloway dinner was over. Claire got into her car. Closed the door. And for the first time that night, she exhaled. Not relief. Not triumph. Something quieter. Freedom. Her phone buzzed. A message from her CFO. All clear. Documentation secured. Claire typed back. Good. Monday morning. She started the engine. The gates opened slowly. And as she drove away, she didn't look back. Because some battles aren't about winning. They're about remembering. You were never losing to begin with.